everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know I've been gone for a little bit. Things have been a little tricky at our house the last month. So let me just show you what I'm using and what I'm doing, and we'll just jump into this and I'll explain a little bit about what's been going on with us. Okay, so several years ago, a friend of mine gave me this box of Project Life cards. I've had them for years. That I haven't really been using much, but I kept feeling like at some point I would get to them. And so over the last month, it's been a little difficult. Anne had surgery, and also my mom passed away, and then our family got some really bad news. So things have been tricky, and I've been trying to find ways to help Anne. One of the things that I've done as things have become more difficult, as I am mourning my mother, as I'm praying for Anne's health and other things going on, I have turned much more significantly to scripture study, and that has actually helped me so much. I wanted to help Anne get more into scripture because it is not easy for her to understand. I started seeing on YouTube all these things called faith decks cards, and generally they are this smaller sort of business card size, and I knew that would be a little difficult for Anne. So I decided for Anne's ease, to go ahead and use the 4x6 cards in the Project Life box. I think this was the first one we made together, and I titled this piece, and the verse that is on the back is "Peace I leave with you" from John 14:27. Now, that card, some of these dies and pictures come from a By the Well for God devotional kit. It was called On the Brink, and I have used the doors, the butterflies, everything over and over. And so I have almost nothing at all left of that kit. It was a wonderful kit. And so I ordered some other kits from By the Well for God. What I can do is just lay out a bunch of stuff in front of Anne, and she gets to choose how to decorate the card. So every one of these are her decorations. On some of them, I maybe make suggestions for placement, but really mostly this is her. I help with the title. And so that was our first one, labeled Peace. And so these cards are just the perfect size for her. And we've done several now, and it's so fun to go through. Now, one thing I love about this is Anne had a bad dream. She's had some trouble with bad dreams, but when she has had a bad night, we'll pull a card and just have her read it and maybe talk about it. And it has been such a blessing. So I'm just going to put you on fast forward here, and I'm going to show you some of the things that I have done to kind of do a prep so that when it's time to make a card, it's a little bit easier for us. I have this watercolor paper pad, and I went ahead and cut that into this 4x6 size that matches the rest of the cards, so that if we wanted to do watercolor, get in there and just make some fun backgrounds of our own, we can do that. I pulled out a selection of other patterned papers and colored papers that I thought Anne might like that we can use for various cards. And then I just sort of collected everything together into sort of an easy space for us to use. And we usually do this on the kitchen counter. I've pulled together some materials like page protectors because we want to do some shaker cards, and just all of those techniques that we use in crafting, just bring them together into just one fun kind of thing that Anne can just experiment, use her creativity, and just have some fun together. And then while we're doing that, we can talk about the verse that we are using. We can talk about what it means. She usually reads it over 2 or 3 times. So it's been really fun to be able to do stamping and watercolor and die cutting and just all of those things. When visitors come, I notice them looking at them and asking about them. And then Anne can show them the things she's done. And it's just been really great and an immense comfort for us during a pretty difficult time for our family. And so let me go through and I'll show you some of the cards that we've made, and then we'll be done. So I showed you this first one with peace, and these little ribbon things are all have come from By the Well for God kits. But we have enough fabric we can easily start making our own. If I can just find some of these real pretty, I love those gold paper clips. These images came from By the Well for God, one of their digital prints that we could do, and that one was called Deepwater Faith. And then, of course, this one that was from their On the Brink kit. And then just some stamps and things we had, okay? This one is one of my favorites. We used items from the By the Well for God kit that is called Behold the Lord. And this backside paper, we used some Distress Oxide ink on some of the watercolor paper. And then we also used a stencil over it that we had gotten off of Amazon. Now, so this one is called Light and Truth. And then I just added in here this little journaling card is from By the Well, that same kit of By the Well for God. And in fact, that too. And so I just wrote a little thing on there that I needed to remember instead of, begging in prayer for different things, to remember all that Jesus has already done for us and to have more of a heart of gratitude. And so that's what that comment is. My favorite ones are the ones that Anne has written on in her own handwriting. So this one, our title is Labor in the, and can you see Anne's handwriting? I just love it. In the Lord, your labor is not in vain. And this is what By the Well for God comes wrapped in, is this tool. So we used it and doubled it over to make a little thing. I did that. But Anne decided on where to lay things out and what parts to use. And all of this is from the kit that is called Fit for the Master's Use. And so this is a print that Anne is able to read, and the more we read it, the easier time she has with it. And I just really love that one and that pop of blue. So this one is also from Deepwater Faith, one of the printable devotionals in By the Well for God. This one is Trials. And this one, I did have to reprint this verse so that it was in a print that she could use. And also frequently we'll just pick a verse that we want to do that I think will be helpful. So I thought that was fun. This is when my mom passed away. You know that for the last several years, every month, Anne and I make a card to send to my mom and one to my aunt. And these two things are off of a card that we sent. And so when we were going through my mom's things, all of those cards that we had sent, she had saved. And so we brought them back home and I took it apart. And we used a verse that I felt really spoke to my mom's way of living. And so it's choose you today whom you will serve. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And that's from Joshua 24:15. And so we made that card and just used some of the fun printables that were from one of the, I can't remember what this one is called, but one of the printable devotionals that are in By the Well for God. And it was just fun. I just wanted to use that card just to remember Mom. And then we always date them. And that actually I think is pretty fun. Okay, this one is, our title is We Shall Be Like Him. And these little pockets and these images are from By the Well for God devotional called Tempted. And then I loved Anne's handwriting in this. We looked at that verse and then wrote down 3 things that she learned. We are God's children. We shall see Jesus. We are not yet what we will be. And I just love that and our opportunity to talk about that. And that's the best part of this whole thing, is what Anne and I are able to talk about, and then that she can then just choose a card when she is feeling distressed and just read the verse. This was a fun one. We just pulled out a lot of random stuff. She told me she wanted to do something pink and with flowers. I had this sticker and just some background paper. And so we used the John 3:16, for God so loved the world verse. And this was just a very random pulled together. I just had a pile of stuff in front of Anne and she just started putting it down. I do help her when things are difficult to position, like this very textured flower. I do help her with positioning with that, and I do help with the gluing down. She decides where she wants things, and then I help her glue it down. So our title for that one is Love. This is God Works in Us. This is from By the Well for God, Fit for the Master's Use set. It has a lot of medical stuff, so that was a little weird. You can see on this one, we just didn't do anything to cover that Project Life card. We just used it as it is because the colors fit really well. And then this is one that Anne can easily read, and we just put some of those other images on there, and there you go. Very easy, very straightforward. And I'm trying to teach Anne about layering and what that means, and that's been interesting because at first she wanted to just line everything up, but you know, I'm kind of teaching her how to layer and make it look more, have more visual interest. So this is my favorite of her handwriting. I don't know if you can see that. I have set before you an open door. And then we used, we used more of those door images from the On the Brink set at By the Well for God. So that's By the Well for God is the first of these kinds of companies that I ever even knew anything about. And so I ordered a few of their things to become a little bit more experienced. And so that's been over several months actually. And then, but I've been trying some of the other companies out there, and I just love how easy this makes things for Anne and I to just create a wonderful set of inspiration cards for her. And in doing all of this, it really has been a great blessing for me to work with her in this and just have some time of crafting and other things when I haven't felt particularly inclined to craft because I've really been in mourning, I guess, is what you'd call it, over not just Mom, but other things. And I just can't even tell you what a blessing this has been to both Anne and I during a very difficult time. And so that is why you haven't seen much of me over the last month or so. Sometimes you've got to just take some time to stop and breathe and kind of figure out how your life looks. And so I hope that's some inspiration for you. This is a great idea for kids because Anne's ability is not the ability of an adult. Her comprehension is not that of an adult. But if you have children and you want to help them get into the scriptures, or you homeschool and you have a portion of your homeschool day that is scripture study, this is just such a great way to go ahead and focus on one verse. And in the midst of that, you can talk about context and all of those other things. But that's just such a blessing, such a help. This has really been a joy for me and a blessing during an incredibly difficult time. And so I encourage you to do that. In difficult times, dive into the scriptures. I know that when I close my videos for a while, I've been saying that people matter more than things. And let me just reiterate that that is true. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support of this channel and your encouraging words. And I hope that something here will be of benefit to you, and we'll see you next time.